Hi, and welcome to week 7 of the Heal and Strengthen Your Core program. Assuming you have done your pelvic floor exercises, as always, you can come down and lay on your back, starting where we left off last week with our toe taps. Okay, so as always, the front body is activated here, pelvic floor is lifted. The hands can help a little bit out here, either by having the palms flat on the floor, keeping your pelvis stable, or if you want to make sure that the front body, there's no movement here in the spine, you can rest the hands on your front body. But anyway, we're going to come into our tabletop, so take a deep breath in, engaging the front body, lifting one leg and lifting the other leg, finding your tabletop position or keeping the knees a little bit more bent if 90 degrees is too challenging. And we're going to dip one toe at a time or one foot at a time down towards the floor, trying, if you can, to keep this angle. So instead of bending the knee and then tapping the toe, if you can, keep this angle so the toe will tap a little bit further away from you and then lift back up. So see how you go. Obviously, if that's too hard, keep bending the knee into a deeper angle here. And tap, and lift, and tap. Double check, is it your core working, those abdominals underneath the belly button, or is it your hip flexors that are doing the majority of the work here? Really, really focus on drawing or controlling the leg down and drawing it back up with your core. Down and up. So we go slowly so that we have time to connect to our muscles here. And drop. And up and lift. Okay, we do 3 more on each side. And drop. And lift. And drop. And lift. 2 more. Keep the spine neutral. Keep the hips still. Last one. And release. Drop the feet down. Let the knees go side to side. Finding a little rotation in the spine here. We're going to come into a movement now that I'm sure most of you are familiar with. It is called crunches, okay? Not sit-ups, okay? So these are very, very particular crunches. And as I'm sure you can remember, when we did our glute bridges or our hip tilts or pelvic tilts, the hip bones tried to reach the lowest ribs before we started to lift the hips off the floor. So it's the same thing here, but opposite. So with your hands behind your head, elbows out as much as you can. We are not going to crunch up and in this way. We're going to try to lift the face and the chest up towards the ceiling and draw the ribs to the hip bones this time. So while we do that, the lower back gets pushed into the floor. So we're going to come into a slightly curved spine without moving the hips. Okay, so we bring the upper body up and then down, getting the shoulder blades off the floor as much as possible without digging the chin into your chest. Okay, so we want to keep this space open. Look up at the ceiling and then try to touch it with your nose and then come down and up and down. Let's do a little hover at the top. Up and hover and down, and then check with your abdominals here. If you have a look, I can lift my upper body and push my belly out this way. Or I can lift my lower and lift my upper body and draw my belly in. So it's that last one we want. We want to draw the belly in and hold it there instead of pushing the abdominals outwards. Okay, so have a look at that. And if you find yourself pushing your belly out, you might want to do smaller movements here. Let's do 8 more. Here we go. 1, and down, and 2, and down, and 3. Touch the ceiling with your nose. 4, do a little hover at the top. 5, 6, shoulder blades off the floor if you can. 7, 2 more. 8, 9, last one. 10, and down. Relax, maybe stretch your body out. Okay, hug your knees, hold behind the knees, and then come up to a seat. Moving into our boat that we were in last week. Hands can be behind you. This time we're going to hold our boat position. There's a few options here. Hands behind, shoulders back and down. Coming into your tippy toes here. Leaning, remember to lean back a little bit so you're on the diagonal with your torso. Maybe you can bring the legs just off the floor into your tabletop, hover. And then if you can, reach the arms forward. We're just going to hang out here for a little bit. Proud chest. Make sure you're not sinking into the chest here. Open the chest, open the shoulders, long, long neck. Going out through the crown of the head for whichever variation you're doing. We hold here for 10, really slow 10 counts, okay? 9, 8, 7, 6, if it gets too hard, toes to the floor. 4, no, 5, sorry, almost let you get away with one there. 4, 3, don't lose the proud chest. 2, 1, let's get to 0. And release, come into your butterfly. Shake the knees out. Okay, we are progressing quite a lot these weeks and the following weeks. The next is your side plank. This one we're also gonna hold, but if you can, both knees are gonna come off the floor this time. So stacking your elbow underneath your shoulder. Stretch the knees. But keep a little bit of an angle in the hip, not as much as we did here, obviously, because the knees are straight, but we don't want this to be a back bend. So if the feet are too far behind you, you're going to lose the engagement in the front body. So bring the feet maybe towards the bottom corner of your mat. Keep the knees straight, hand on hip. We lift and hold. And obviously, if this is too hard, drop your bottom knee down. Okay, otherwise, cinch in the waist. Remember how we try to lift the waistline as far away from the floor as possible. And then we're just gonna hold. Let's do another 10 really slow counts. Okay, 10, 9, 8, 7, lift the hips higher. 6, 5, 4, even higher, almost there. 3, 2, let's get to 0. 1, and drop. Okay. Switching sides, straight onto the other side. Set yourself up in the same way that you were in on the first side. Take a breath, prepare yourself mentally as well. And then whenever you're ready, lift the hips, straight line with the body. Maybe you have to drop the bottom knee completely fine. And we hang out here. Before I start counting down, can you lift the waistline further from the floor? Then hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, lift it higher, almost there, 3, 2, and 1, 0, hold, and then down. Forgot about the 0, sorry about that. Now come down to your belly. We're gonna keep working with our upper body lifts, but I am putting on a little bit of a challenge today. So if any of the other variations that we have been doing is better for you, then you do that. Otherwise, we're gonna work with the arms straight today. So it gets heavier for our back. So before we start anything here, just find that stretch of the legs and then the push of the hips slightly into the floor. So you can feel your glutes switching on here. Keep those hips really heavy. Reach the arms forward, palms facing each other as if you're holding a box or block in between your hands. The forehead is going to come to the floor and we're going to lift the torso up in one block. So if you have a look, forehead down, and then we lift with the arms stretched forward and then come back down. And lift. Push the hips into the floor and down. And lift. The arms stays straight as much as you can. We do 7 more. You got this. Here you go. 7. And down. 6. 5. 4. 3. 2. We get to 0. 1. Let's do one more. Bonus. 0. And down. Bring the hips to your heels. Find your closed knee child's pose. Take a few breaths. And then rolling up. Coming to sit. Well done. Give yourself a thank you for staying consistent for the last 7 or so weeks. I thank you a lot for being here with me and letting me guide you through towards a stronger and more healed core. As always, reach out to me if you have any questions or comments, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video.